All right, hey again, everybody. Futures Brizio here. I figured I'd jump in again. It's just after 3 p.m. on Wednesday, February 25th. Did a video this morning, kind of just doing a live analysis of the market to start, and took a few trades live at that time, and talked about just kind of correlation, especially between these currency futures and spot forex market, the regular forex markets that everybody knows. So just figured I'd jump in again. We'll do a quick review of kind of how things shook out. Grain markets are obviously closed for the day, but the currency markets are still running. So we'll just do a quick review here, and so we'll be mainly on the 4 hour chart and the daily. But so here's rice. Rice, after trying to go lower today, kind of popped up. And then, before the close, it started going lower again. You can kind of see that right here. But, we're still trading under market structure here. And so, as I said, that this potentially could go a lot further down. Uh, we were starting to recover, but now we've had pretty much all week, or actually since last week, we've been, heading back down. So I'll continue to watch this, but I didn't take any trades in rice, but it's certainly right now still looking pretty bearish. Soybean oil. Again, I took this long, which again, the market's closed right now for the regular session. So you can see it's in a small profit, 78 bucks, just one contract. Um, but like I said, I can see this thing if we look out at the weekly chart. The next real big piece of resistance area is up here around $64. So that's quite a ways from where it is now. Again, this is a weekly chart. And again, we're still pretty bullish from a commitment of traders standpoint, looking at the index down below here. So I'm probably gonna, hold this. I may even just hold it through the overnight. Once the evening session opens, I got to put my stop loss back. I don't know again why this is my funded account. I don't know why they do this where when the market closes, it drops off your stop loss. It's pretty dangerous. I don't really understand why they do that. I need to ask them. But anyway, so that soybean oil is still pretty bullish. And here is soybeans, this is the yellow one. I told you the grains were pretty bullish. Now, the one thing about soybeans is you can see now it's bumping right up against this. Let's go to the weekly chart. It's a little easier to see. This price it's at right now is this previous high that was back in November, and it's acting as resistance, which was previous support going back quite a ways. So we'll see when the market reopens. I actually would have preferred to have closed this one before the market closed for the day, but I wasn't home and I just didn't get to it. So I will be sitting here at 8 p.m. tonight when the market reopens to probably manage this trade. And hopefully it doesn't like gap down and take all my profit because I forgot to close it during the session. And the only reason why I think I probably will close it is just because of where it's sitting. Now, if it gaps up a little bit, great. Then I probably still will close it, but I'll take the extra. So, but at least temporarily, I'd like to take it off the board here. Now, if it gets through here and we keep going, which it probably will, then again, looking out at the weekly chart, the next level, similar to soybean oil, is sitting up here around the 1248, 1250 area. All right. So it probably will go higher, but I will certainly manage it from the level it's at now because I do expect to see some kind of reaction, have this thing come back down. Soybean meal had a really nice rally today. Did not take this one, but you can see we talked about that earlier. So that just keeps chugging along. And I think we got quite a ways. I will be looking for re-entries on this on pullbacks as it heads towards this daily high up here. So definitely bullish, but I'm not in that. Again, nothing really to talk about with corn still. And I also, as I mentioned, still very bullish on wheat. I did jump in after we put in this. Let me jump to the 4 hour. We put in this low and then we turned and went higher. We had this kind of a dueling 4-hour candles here, and I felt like that was a good place to get in. When that candle closed, I took the long, and again, I'm holding it. Again, I lost my stop loss. It was underneath these lows, a couple of points below this dueling low. So I'll see what happens when the market reopens, but pretty good chance I'll probably hold this one too, unless it really gaps low, and then I'll just add my stop loss back in, and we'll just keep going and at least target these previous highs up here. We are getting a 4-hour signal here. Oh, that's the 3-hour chart. On the 4-hour chart, we're still kind of flatlined on the stochastic RSI. Looks like it's trying to maybe start bending up, but really, if you're bullish on this, any kind of meandering of this oscillator down, in this case, back into oversold, to me is automatically I'm starting to look for longs once it gets down here. I mean, you don't want to jump the gun too early because it could kind of just chug along inside of here for a while and continue to go down. But once it gets down into here, I'm going to be probably looking for long entries if my bias is bullish. As soon as it gets down in here, you know, that's the most low risk opportunity because price is already, at a pretty good discount. So I did get in. Maybe it's a little early. We'll see, but it's still looking okay. It just didn't do much because I got into this trade kind of late in the session. So the volatility kind of dried up, but I'm inclined to probably hold this. So, all right. And then quick look at currency futures. Again, I was talking about the British pound breaking out a little bit. Um, and again, if we look at daily structure, this is still kind of our daily swing low right here. And so I do expect that this will continue to move up. This has been potentially a big ABC correction, but it is possible it just rolls over and keeps going down. That this is actually a downtrending move, and this is a lower high, and this is a lower high. We'll see. But in the larger picture off the daily chart, this is still pretty bullish, and you can see on this pullback right here, tried to come down and obviously did not make a new low and now has broken this structure. So I'm still pretty bullish on this. As long as now that we've broken the structure, as long as this kind of 4-hour structure holds right here, right? Price may pull back again, but as long as this area holds, then, I think this will keep going up. If it breaks through here, then, we're probably going to keep heading back towards that daily low. All right. And the euro, like I said, is very closely coordinated with the pound or correlated. So not really much to talk about. It's pretty much the same case there. It's not looking as bullish as the pound because it didn't break this structure the way the pound did. But overall, on the bigger picture, it's exactly the same on the daily chart. It's pretty much the exact same look. The Australian dollar continues to move higher. I did take Aussie Canadian short on my funded account, which I believe I did close now, um, because the Canadian dollar also started moving higher too. Um, but and let's look at the rest of these. The Japanese yen kind of bounced off this area today, really didn't do anything today. This is still looking pretty bearish. Now, it did come down to this big swing down here on the 4-hour chart and seems to have bounced, but it hasn't made it all the way down here. So I wouldn't be surprised if this, maybe, I don't know whether it happened during the Asian session or London tomorrow, to see this come down a little bit more, maybe come back and re-challenge, this low right here, and then maybe we get a bounce. So it's still looking pretty darn bearish. Um, and honestly, as long as on the 4-hour chart, as long as this kind of structure area holds, it's still bearish. But I wouldn't be surprised if we roll over and come down and at least get back to this low. And if it breaks through there, then we've got the kind of this daily low sitting down here. All right. So overall, still bearish on the yen. And so that's kind of the deal on that. So the Canadian dollar, again, higher time frame, looks a lot like the British pound and the euro. Still have kind of major structure point down here, potential lower high put in here. But again, the question is this a lower high to begin a downtrend, or is this just part of a larger correction to this previous up move, right? Come up and then we form some kind of corrective pattern for you Elliott wave traders, like in, an ABC pattern, and then we keep going up, or are we going to roll over now and keep going down? So we'll see what happens with that. Um, Whether we continue to make some sort of move back up here, or whether this falls. If it closes and gets down below, this low right here, particularly this area right here below this previous breakout candle right here, then it probably will, at that point, I think it'll probably confirm it's going lower and probably look back towards these lows at least. So this is a critical area. If this holds, you can see price did try to tap that area right here earlier today, or actually this was yesterday because it's a daily candle. It did tap this low over here, right where this yellow line is, and it bounced off of there. So if we get any follow through, then I think this will keep going up, but we'll have to see. But again, if it breaks below here, then we'll probably keep going. So I'm a little neutral on the Canadian dollar, probably a little bit more bullish than bearish, but overall pretty neutral on it. The yen, like I said, zooming out, the yen probably. So, I mean, just looking at this, the issue with the yen is you can see on the weekly chart, we've got this kind of triple, quadruple bottom sitting here. And there is this low is a little bit further down, but we've had at least 3 taps on the area where it is right now. And these are like all-time lows for the yen. If we zoom out, at least as far back as my trading view chart goes, you can see this is the monthly chart. We've never seen prices any lower than where they are now. So we've had multiple taps on these lows. And obviously the fact that these are historical lows is probably part of the reason why price is bouncing like this, because there's just people are trying to just pick bottoms, and that nobody wants it to the buyers are trying to pick bottoms and have this go higher, and people are just betting that it's not going to go any lower, especially since it's had multiple attempts at this area. So while I do think the yen certainly could make it, looked like it tried to make a move off these lows here, then it came all the way back down, then it tried again. The second time it kind of failed. You can see it was a lower high, and then it came down again, which is where it is now. It hasn't followed through and made any new lows, but pretty interesting. So we're in kind of a transitional phase, I think, with the yen. So again, a little bit neutral on the yen. And then again, this is the Swiss franc, which this is just such a common theme. Like, look at like all these things look very, not all of them, but things like, the pound, the euro, the Canadian dollar, the Swiss franc, they all have this, previous run up, and now these what appear to be corrective moves, kind of consolidating. None of them have proven to be new downtrends. Right now, I'm still classifying them all as just consolidation corrective patterns. But it's really interesting that we've got at least 4 of the 7 that are making essentially the same pattern, and only 2 of those 4 are correlated pairs. The yen, excuse me, the euro and the pound are very correlated. I expect to see that with them, but to see like the Swiss franc and the Canadian dollar make very, very similar patterns is really interesting. So a little bit of transition there, but the only one that like really seems to have any direction right now is the Aussie is still trending up. And we'll have to see if these other ones are coming out of corrective patterns or whether they're going to, fail and keep going down. But like I said, the only one to me that's like really clear bullish right now is the Australian dollar. So, and then for the dollar index, again, you can't trade this, but just from the standpoint of the dollar index, again, a pretty quiet day for the dollar. Here's the daily chart. And here's the 4-hour chart. Again, not really doing anything, just kind of consolidating inside of here. Overall, it's still looking kind of bearish. We have on the daily chart, here's our kind of structure high on the daily chart, and we haven't broken that. We're not even anywhere near it. And, this could definitely roll over and keep going down, which would then potentially make some good setups yeah, again, you can't trade the DXY index, at least in the US. But if this starts, aggressively moving down again, then that would help me kind of formulate some potential trades in the forex market in shorting the US dollar. All right, hey again, everybody. Futures Brizio here. I figured I'd jump in again. It's just after 3 p.m. on Wednesday, February 25th. Did a video this morning, kind of just doing a live analysis of the market to start, and took a few trades live at that time, and talked about just kind of correlation, especially between these currency futures and spot forex market, the regular forex markets that everybody knows. So just figured I'd jump in again. We'll do a quick review of kind of how things shook out. Grain markets are obviously closed for the day, but the currency markets are still running. So we'll just do a quick review here. And so we'll be mainly on the 4-hour chart and the daily. But so here's rice. Rice, after trying to go lower today, kind of popped up. And then, before the close, it started going lower again. You can kind of see that right here. But, we're still trading under market structure here. And so, as I said, this potentially could go a lot further down. We were starting to recover, but now we've had pretty much all week, or actually since last week, we've been, heading back down. So I'll continue